All right. Well, hey, sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and start this second part up now. Not sure what happened there with our connectivity, but at least this should get recorded. So at least we'll have the second part and we can just tack it on after our first part that we got through. So where we were at was we were talking about what was new in Google Apps over the last month. And we had gotten up through Gmail, now searching the trash and spam folder. So a couple more things that we've seen happen in the last month. Hangouts has gotten an updated look and improved speed, which I don't think was helping us today. It's not Hangouts' fault. I'm sure there's just a connectivity issue somewhere between here and the rest of the world. But that was a quick little update this year or this last month. The next thing, though, that definitely could affect schools is Chrome is finally going to drop support for Windows XP. Now, that may sound like, oh, why would they do that? Actually, they've been a holdout. They've been supporting XP way longer than even Microsoft supported XP. So sometime in April of 2016, you can still use Chrome on Windows XP, but there'll not be any more updates. At that point, whatever version, version 48 or whatever it is, that's it. No more updates will come out for Windows XP. There are probably schools that are still running Windows XP in certain corners and nooks and crannies of their building. I mean, that does happen. We hold on to things in education for a very long time. So it is possible that Windows XP computers could still be out there. And if so, this is one more, reason to upgrade either to, newer Windows computers or Chromebooks or something like that, because chances are errors will start to occur. Things won't, as time goes on, things won't look right since that version of Chrome will not be getting any updates. And there's always, of course, security issues you worry about with that. Anybody know if your schools have XP still hanging around anywhere?
I think some of us.
Maybe some, yeah. All right. The next thing on the what's new list, Google has launched what's called the About Me page. And basically, if you click, actually, let me go to the actual About Me page. If you click on that, it's aboutme.google.com. It'll give you a page where it shows everything that basically people can see about you in your profile. So if you want to know what's public and what's private and what have you actually put out there about yourself in your profile, aboutme.google.com will take your account and show you all the things that people can see about you. This is my work account here, so that's my work number. I'm not giving away my personal cell phone number or anything there. This is my work account, so that is perfectly fine. You can call me there if you need to reach me here at work. But I think that's a nice option for you to always know what it is that people can see about you. Now, there's been some speculation if that page is in any way going to take the place of your old Google Plus profile page, because again, Google Plus seems to be getting dismantled little by little and pieces spun off to other things. Maybe this is a step toward this being your new profile page, but we'll have to see. Next up, Google has added a stopwatch searching feature inside of Google Search. Now, in the past, you've had things like timer. So if you wanted to run a timer, you could just type in the word timer, search, and you could set a timer. Well, now there's also a stopwatch instead. So timer is a countdown. You set how much you want, you hit start, and then it starts counting down. A stopwatch feature, of course, goes the other direction. So now you can either search for stopwatch or search for timer and then choose the stopwatch tab. But once you've done that, then if you go ahead and click on start, you will see that the stopwatch will start counting up from there. And of course, you can hit stop and start again. You can also go full screen with it. There's a little full screen button there. If you need to have a quick stopwatch in class for any purpose, you can do that rather than a countdown timer. All right. What else is new? This one sounds like a lot like the earlier one about there's updates for docs and sheets, but there was something really cool hidden inside of this one that I thought was worth mentioning. So they have this update where they're talking about, oh, here's some more new things for Android that we've rolled out, how now you can do commenting better in docs for Android, and oh, you can do better charts inside of Sheets for Android. But then they threw in this other little thing at the end that I did not even know had happened. They have now rolled out their fonts, their web fonts for Google Sheets. Now, in the past, that wasn't the case. If you went into here, I'll go ahead and fire up Drive here and we'll show you. In the past, if you were to go into, well, actually I can do it from our agenda. First of all, if you were to go to the font menu at the top of Docs, you would have access to all of the web fonts that you have decided that you wanted to use. And if you didn't have a font there that you liked, you could go down to more fonts, and from more fonts, you could search through the hundreds and hundreds of web fonts that were available, click on them, add them to your font list, and then that would give you this ever-growing font list. It worked in slides and it worked in Docs. It did not work in Sheets. Well, now we're happy to say that if you go and fire up a Google Sheet, you can now come up to the font menu and all the same fonts are going to be available there, and the more fonts option there as well. So now inside of Google Sheets, you can also use lots of fonts. Now, Anthony, I know you're the sheet person here. Were you happy to see that?
I was thrilled.
Good, good. So make ability for Google Sheets to have a lot more neat fonts and a little more personality.
As a precaution, I just uninstalled the More Fonts extension, not knowing whether it would cause any issues.
Yeah, there was an add-on called More Fonts that gave you about 35 or so fonts, but now you've got access to the whole web font archive. So that's great. Next up, Google announced that Asus is putting out a Chrome Bit, which is basically a Chromebook on a stick, pretty much. Oh, there's not a good picture of that one. Let me try this other link. Maybe there's a better picture here. There it is. All right. So there's the Chrome Bit. Basically, it's kind of like a flash key, kind of like the Chromecast, any of those sort of devices. But basically, it is a light computing device that can be plugged in to any sort of HDMI TV or screen or device. And then you can use Bluetooth to attach a keyboard or a mouse to it. And basically, it's going to run the Chrome OS operating system. And you can do that then without a computer. It is your computer. And it's only, this one is only $85. So for $85, this little stick will turn really any HDMI screen or monitor into a Chrome OS desktop. Now again, you'd want to have a keyboard and a mouse, Bluetooth, so that you could, connect those with it so you could control it. But the thing that this article is really pointing out is that this is also a great option for folks that need to have digital signs, or they need a kiosk of some sort with, and a lot of times you'll see that at schools. You'll go in and in the foyer or whatever, they'll have big TVs up and they'll have, a kiosk running and have signage running. This is a good option for schools if they're looking for a low-cost way to have digital signage and also be able to simply log into the device and control what it's doing right from there. So $85, and that's the Chrome Bit. Thought that looked kind of neat. Couple more quick things here. Google Plus is getting a facelift, and I went ahead and changed it on my work account so I can show you what it looks like. If you use Google Plus, let me go ahead and pull up my Google Plus page here real quick. If you use Google Plus, this is the new look that you're going to get if you so choose to. So if you go to the old Google Plus, let me see if I can find a contrast here. Let me grab my old Google Plus here. Let me go to my profile. We'll go to my home here. Let me drag this over. Maybe. Here it comes. All right. So there we go. That is what Google Plus normally looks like, where you've got the home button with the drop-down menu on the side here. And if you notice, there's now a little pop-up saying, hey, do you want to try the new Google Plus? And if you say yes, if you click Let's Go, then that's when it's going to refresh into this new version where they're saying it's more simplified. They've tried to strip out some things that they didn't think were getting a whole lot of use. So now the focus is basically on your stream, on communities, which is great. Okay, we do a lot of great things with Google Communities. Collections, which I really haven't done much with those yet. I don't know, has anybody done anything with collections yet? I really haven't, but it lets you go ahead and put together posts into categories so people can follow a collection of posts as well. And then, of course, there's your normal profile screen and your people where you can find all the people that you got in your circles. What is noticeably missing here? What do you not see that is a very important part of Google Plus that is not in the menu there? There's no Hangouts in there. So I got a little nervous about it. I'm like, oh no, please don't have Hangouts going anywhere. Why isn't Hangouts in the menu here? So that's why I did not upgrade to the new Google Plus on my regular account, because I didn't want to lose Hangouts. Well, not to fear, that I know they're not getting rid of Hangouts or anything like that. It sounds to me like they're just incorporating it more into their new Hangouts page, which you guys might have seen. It's just hangouts.google.com. This has been around for a while as a way you can go to launch Hangouts. Well, it turns out now, if you come here to the little menu button in the top left-hand corner, Hangouts on Air has now been added as an option to hangouts.google.com. Now, if I click it there, it does actually send me over to the old Google Plus page for launching a Hangout on Air. But I'm getting the feeling that what's going to happen is maybe Hangouts is now going to be broken away from Google Plus, that you will not have to have a Google Plus account to do a Hangout on Air, and it will just be part of the regular Hangouts menu here. So got to keep an eye on that and see what happens. And that's not the only new info on Hangouts. Just yesterday, they announced that now you can join a Hangout without a Google account. And that's always been something that, could have been a stumbling block for people saying, oh, I'd love to use Hangouts, but the people I want to connect with might not have a Gmail account, may not have a Google Plus account. Is there some way we can connect with them? And so what Anthony and I used to do is we would create some, temporary accounts for people. We'd say, okay, here, we made this Spark account. Use this one for now so you can jump into this meeting. Well, that's not going to be the case anymore. What you'll be able to do now is you'll be able to invite anybody to a Hangout by giving them a link, the invite link for the Hangout. And when they click that link, if they don't have a Google account, no problem. They just type in their name and click request to join. And then you, as the Hangout operator, will say, so-and-so is trying to join the Hangout. I know that person. I'll accept it. And so even if they don't have a Google account at all, they can now jump into Hangouts with you. And I thought, well, that's really nice, because let's say there's a school that's using Hangouts for distance learning, and you want to connect to another school in California or a school in England, or you want to interview this scientist or this author, and maybe they don't have a Google account. That's not going to block it anymore. Now, anybody that you can send an email to and say, here's the link, they can click that link and they'll be able to jump in the Hangout with you. So I really think that's awesome. That's really opening up a lot of possibilities. All right. And that gets us to the end of what's new in Google. Not a whole lot of new stuff in the last month, but again, we've only had 3 weeks between meetings because of Thanksgiving coming up, and the way last month was, it got bumped a little later. So not a whole lot of time has passed since the last meeting, but we do have some neat updates there. Any questions or comments on any of those? All right. Well, let's see. Did we end up getting any questions here? Looks like we got a little bit. Somebody says, I heard there were some glitches with wireless connections in Chrome OS version 45. I stopped our Chromebooks from being updated past 44. Have you heard about this? Is it safe to release the Chromebooks to update past 45? I'm going to say right away, I do not know if that is the case. Anthony, have you heard anything about wireless connection problems with version 45?
No, I haven't.
So really sorry there. Unfortunately, I don't think Anthony or I have had our finger on the pulse of that. I have not heard. And if anybody has heard, definitely feel free to type in here and let us know what you've heard about that. But no, I have not heard anything about wireless connection problems with it. So definitely don't take our word for it, because in this case, no, I don't have any experience with that.
One word of advice for Ohio users, though, if you're getting ready to use Chromebooks for air testing, make sure you follow the guidelines on the website, because they will have a freeze date where they'll want you to stop all updates to Chrome until after the air testing is done.
Yeah, that is pretty normal. They'll say, we have tested the air test with, up through version, 45 or whatever. And they'll say, please don't update your Chromebooks past that until testing is over, just in case something goes wrong. And that is something that you can control. If you're not familiar with that, if you go into your admin console and you go to your Chromebook settings, you can tell it to stop at a certain point. See if I can actually, I'm going to close out. I got a couple more windows open that I don't need open here. Sometimes I start getting a little bit crazy with all my windows. I'm starting to notice my computer's just running slow at the moment. So just going to free up a little bit of memory there. There we go. Hopefully that is better now. All right, good. So from your admin console, you can go into device management, and from device management, you can go to Chrome management. And then from Chrome management, you can go to your device settings. And you can, of course, then dive into the whatever organization actually has your Chromebooks in it. And if you scroll down, you'll find in there a spot where you can restrict the version here under auto update. So I could say restrict the Google Chrome version to at most 44, 45, 46. And then if you choose that, the Chromebooks will not upgrade past that. So if the air test is guaranteed to work on 45 and below, you could say, we're going to stop everything at 45. Don't go past that. And then you'd have to remember afterwards to come back here and say no restriction to allow them to update again. I have not heard anything about what version they're currently supporting with the air test. I'm sure they have. I'm sure they've said something about it, but I am not sure. I have not kept my eye on that this time around.
The infrastructure dates have been announced, so I'm assuming it'll be close to that period of time.
Okay. All right. And then it looks like we don't have anything else in the Q&A or the show and tell. Before we jump over to Anthony here, did you guys have any questions, comments, something you wanted to share about what's happening?
I had a quick question
Yep.
about last time we met with the read and write.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to understand, because if I get a PDF on mine and I want to convert it over to, because that's what he said was one of the functions that you had to buy for the kids, but for educators it was free.
Okay.
So if you converted the PDF, I have issues in my school all the time with teachers that want to use PDFs and then put it on Classroom, and then it doesn't format right.
Okay.
It's a non-editable version, and
Right.
so I thought, oh my gosh, that's the solution. So if I convert that on mine, can I then share it out in Classroom?
Now you're talking about taking a PDF and turning it into a Google Doc.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you were thinking that that they mentioned read and write being able to do that?
Yeah, I thought he said that.
I use a different tool for converting PDFs to docs. I did not catch that from him. I know that read and write will read PDFs. I know it can do that. So let me show you what I've used. And I don't recall that being one of the options in there for read and write. So the question is, if you have a PDF and you'd like to convert it into a Google Doc, what options do you have? Well, there's several options. One is you can just use what is built into Drive without installing like anything at all. I mean, you don't have to install anything. And for that, let me just show you real quick. I'll open up Drive here and let me grab a PDF. I should have some in a folder here of sample files. So let me grab my sample files folder. There we go. That should be fine. So if I come here to my Google Drive and I go to my computer and I find a PDF, like here is a scanned PDF. I wonder if I have any that aren't scanned. Well, here's a flyer. The scanned, sure. Okay, so here's a scanned PDF. Okay, so I took this piece of paper, I laid it down on the copier glass, I hit scan, saved it as a PDF, got emailed to me. So this is a picture basically of a document. If I take this document and I put it into my Google Drive, so I'll go ahead and I'll upload that, let that upload to Google Drive. Now you'll see on my drive, it says sample scanned doc. Let me zoom in a little bit there so it's easier to see. So there inside of my drive is the PDF. If I double click on it, I'll just get a preview of it. It is an image. It took a picture of that document. Well, what you can do from Drive is you can right click on it and say open with Google Docs. And if you tell Drive to open a PDF with Google Docs, what it's going to do is it's going to do OCR, optical character recognition. It's going to read through the PDF as best as it can, look for things that look like letters, and try to pull them out of the PDF. Now, I'm going to guarantee it's not going to be pretty. It doesn't do anything with formatting, anything like that. It's just trying to, well, it does a little with formatting, but mostly it's just trying to grab the letters. It's trying to pull the text out of it. So
like, let's say it has an image.
You're going to lose the image. Okay, so this is option 1. So if I do this, it's going to try to convert that into a Google Doc. What it's going to show you is the original scanned image, and then below that, it'll have the text that it's pulled out. So here's the original scanned image. You'll get that picture. Give that a second. So that's just an image for you to look at as reference. And if you scroll down below there, there is the editable text.
Right.
So it's pulled that text out of there, and you can compare the original to that to fix the things that didn't turn out right. And then you can click on the original picture, just delete that and be done with it. And now you've got the text that you can edit. So that's an option if it's pretty much just text that you're working with. If not, another one you can use, and I don't know if I can open it straight from here or not. Oh, it looks like I can. There's one called Kami, and Kami, and it used to be called Notable PDF.
Right.
And what it does is it allows you to be able to write on, I'll just sign in with my Google account. Oh, hey, let me sign in. Wonder why it's not letting me sign in. Hello. Hold on, let me try that again. I've got Kami installed, I think, as one of my apps here. I think I do. There it is, Kami. Huh. Wonder why that's grayed out at the moment. That's weird. It didn't used to be grayed out. My sign in with Google is grayed out at the moment. Okay. But yeah, I don't think I've got an account. I've just always used my Google sign in for it. Well, we'll have to figure that out. I'm not sure what's going on there, but Kami would allow you to sign in with your Google account, and then basically it would open up the PDF and it would give you down the side markers and pencils and things like that that you could write on top of it with, and then save it as a new PDF with all the annotations written on top.
And that I'm all familiar with, and so we're great till we get to that point. But then then they want them to turn it in to the classroom.
Well, if a student was to write on the PDF using Kami or whatever tool, they would simply have to export it when they're done into a PDF, I would say, so that it stays looking exactly the same. And then in Google Classroom, they can attach that. So if you go to Google Classroom,
You just go back into your drive
and absolutely. So if I go to Google Classroom and, if I wanted to, well, I'm not a student at the moment, so that probably would not be the good one to show. I'll pop over to my student account here so I can show you as a student. Let's see if I can find my student account. All right.
Can we convert an image? So if they have a picture along.
Yep. It's basically just you're getting. Kami's not really converting anything. All it's doing is it's giving you the chance to write on top of the PDF. You got it. You're not editing the PDF. You're basically writing on top of it. All right. Let me see. I should be able to get into Classroom with this account as a student. All right, there we go. So if I come in here as a student, and if I go to, do I have an assignment in here? Let me see if I've got an assignment that I can use as an example here. Oh, these are all announcements here. Did I not push out an assignment to that? Oh, here's an assignment. When you go to turn in your assignment, instead of having something that is like a Google Doc that you're filling in, the student can go to the add button and they can add a file. They can upload the PDF, or the PDF could be on their drive and they could grab it from Google Drive. So yeah, they would use a tool like Cami to mark up on top of the PDF, save it again as a PDF with their changes. And then from Classroom, they would hit the add button and they would either upload it or grab it from their drive to turn that PDF back in. That would be an option. And I'm sure there's things that are going to go wrong with that. But as a very quick answer,
Right.
I would say if converting it to a Google Doc is losing too much stuff, then you're going to want to use a tool like Cami that does the markup on top of it. I know that folks that use iPads, they use one called Notability, and that's an app that lets you mark all over the PDFs as well.
Doc Hub, we use
Okay.
that as well.
Okay.
And but I don't know, I just have such issues with my teachers with those PDFs and things that they've got taken off the copier. So, but I didn't realize you could take it as you did and just throw it into your doc that easy.
All right.
That's good.
One thing that you need to remember when you're working with PDFs and you right click on them, Google Docs will only convert up to 10 pages. And there's no good way to split the PDF per se, but the trick is open the PDF and print it to a PDF, print pages 1 through 10, 11 through 20, et cetera, and then you can run the individual OCRs and put them back together.
Yeah, Anthony is correct. When you convert a PDF to a Google Doc, it will only go for the first 10 pages. But you're right. You could split that PDF up by opening it originally and then reprinting it to whatever PDF program you want to print it to, or just say save as PDF and just do pages 1 to 10, 11 to 20, and so forth. I wish it would go deeper than 10 pages, but that is, if you have to go further, that would be an option. We do see another question here. Says, Amy wants to know, what is the little puzzle piece at the top of this Google Doc on your video? Says RW. Well, that actually is Read and Write for Google, which is something we talked about last user group. We had John McPeters on from Text Help, and he talked all about Read and Write for Google. It is a extension that gives you a bunch of neat functions that include things like text to speech. So I can highlight text in my document, hit the play button, and it will read it out loud. There are a lot of features here that are not part of the free version. The free version does do text to speech, but many of the other features here get grayed out. There is a paid version of this, and depending upon how many students you have, it gets very affordable. The price drops, as you get more and more kids. I think it gets down to like $1.50 per kid is like the lowest cost for it. And you've got other features then like word prediction, a regular dictionary, a picture dictionary, highlighting, creating a vocab study guide. And my favorite is the voice note. I think it's just amazing. If you've used Kaizenna, I like Kaizenna, but you got to jump through a lot of hoops. The voice note feature on this is really slick. Basically, all I have to do is highlight something, click on voice note, click on record. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. This is just a test. And then just hit insert, and that's it. It basically is going to throw a little comment over here on the side with a link to play back that audio clip just by clicking right on it, right in the comment. It may take it a little bit of time here today to insert that, but hopefully it's it looks like it's running. Things are moving up there. Oh, there it is. And so no, this only works in docs. So now if I come over here, you will see I have a comment on the side, and that comment has the little play button right in it that if I press it, it'll play that right back. So I thought it is really, really nice for the voice note feature, if nothing else. Now, as we talked about last month, although it does cost for students, it is free for educators. You can look in the agenda from last month, and there's a link in there that you can fill out a form that will give you free access as an educator. So as a teacher, you could use the voice note feature to leave feedback for your kids with no problem at all, if your school isn't perhaps going to purchase the student licenses to get all of the features. But that's what that RW is. That's Read and Write for Google. a great extension that even if you just do the free one and just get the text to speech, what a great thing. If a student writes a story or a poem or an article or whatever, what a great way for them to have their own writing read back to them so that they can catch mistakes and fix things. It's a really great tool for that. All right, so those are the questions, and it looks like that's the show and tell. Now, Anthony has a little bit here at the end. Throw it back open to the group. Any other questions, comments? Yes, please. Yes.
We use like the Google Calendar for our assignments. The teachers post their assignments in there. Is there any way to, when you click on the calendar, it always comes up in month view? Is there any way to default it to agenda view?
Sure. Yeah.
I've tried to do it, and several other people have tried, and I can't get it to.
Okay.
When parents click on it, see it in agenda.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a couple of things here. It depends upon what you mean by who is viewing it. Okay. So, for example, if I am the end user, if I'm the one, this is my calendar, by default, my calendar is coming up in week view right now. Now I can change my own settings for me. Doesn't sound like that's what you're thinking more for the parents though, right? On your website. Okay. So we'll cover a couple of different things. First of all, if you yourself just want a different view than what is showing up on the web page, just for your own benefit, yes, you can go into the settings and you can change what your default view is. That's not going to help the parents, I know, but we'll just mention that real quick. If you go into your settings, you'll see that if I scroll down here, the default view is set at week, and I can change that to day, month, agenda, custom view. But that's just for me, so that's not what you've been asking. So instead, what we're talking about is when you embed the calendar into a web page, can you control the view that it comes up with? Well, if are you using Google Sites? Or what are you using for your eSchool? You should be able to. Let's look at it a couple of ways real quick. If I'm in Google Sites, I know that when I embed, and I probably have a test thing here, we'll just grab one of these. These are just test sites with all, yes, see, there's the dancing banana. Yes, it's just a test site. But if I go to the calendar page on the test site, oh, I lost my calendar. Must have been doing something else on that page. That's okay. We'll put it back in. Oh, it's a Google drawing I've got there. We'll get rid of that. So if I go to my calendar page in a Google site and I go insert calendar, I get to choose which calendar I want to insert. And then after I choose it, I get to pick what the default view is. So if I'm putting it in a Google site, yes, I can say when this opens up, I want it to be agenda view. Save, and it will come up in agenda view. Okay. Now that doesn't mean they can't change it. They've still got tabs for week and month if they'd like that, but you can set the default. Now that's for a Google site. So again, by inserting the calendar gadget, you have that ability to choose what is the default view. Now, if you don't want them to switch out of it, you could uncheck show week, month, and agenda tabs, and then they're stuck in whatever view you chose for them. So now if I do that, it's going to be agenda view, and you better like it because I took out the tabs at the top. Now, the question is, can you do that on something that's different than Google Sites? Well, if you go back to your calendar here, my guess is the way that you're adding the calendar is probably by getting the embed code. Does that sound right? So like if I come down here and I find my pre-algebra calendar and I say I want to embed my pre-algebra calendar in a website, if I come to the little down arrow next to it, and if I go into my calendar settings, there they are, calendar settings, and I scroll down to the bottom, it gives you an embed code here that you can copy and paste into a whatever web design tool you're using. Are you guessing that's what you guys are doing?
It came up when I tried it, it came up bad request.
It came up bad request. So it did not like this iframe code that you put in?
We tried doing parts of it.
Really? Interesting.
Did not like it.
She said eSchool. Yeah. I wonder if it doesn't support now, but did you get something to show up eventually?
It just comes in that week. It comes up fine in the month view, not in the
Okay, because you can also go to customize the color, size, and other options. And if you come to here, now you get a lot more tweaking you can do with it. So you can set a title, you can say what tabs they get, what the default view is going to be. So you can say, I want this to start in agenda mode, and I want it to be so tall and so wide, and I want it to be a certain color, and you can do all of that tweaking, and it just keeps expanding this iframe with more and more details the more you check here. So again, the way I got to that was from that calendar settings page, I chose customize, and then I went in and said, let's make it be agenda view, or let's make it be whatever. And then that iframe. So that is this is correct. If you've done this, you have done exactly what you're supposed to do. If at this point, taking that code and putting it in a web design tool is not working, then unfortunately that's going to be some kind of a problem with that web design tool. Now, who knows? I can't say for sure what eSchool View can and can't do, or if there's a special way you got to put it in there, but that's the code. That is what you should be using to make it come up in a certain view.
Now, it doesn't do you much good, but if you want static calendars, you can print that to a PDF and embed the PDF. That only gives you static calendars. So if you want a calendar of the year showing the break times and things like that, you can still take your Google Calendar and print it to a PDF and then embed it in programs, and it's going to stay in that static view. But of course, that loses the advantages of being able to update it all the time.
Right.
So the teachers are constantly updating it.
Now, the other option is on your eSchool View page is to put a link that goes to the calendar page that you would have and create a small Google site single page.
Oh, okay.
So you
To
can,
create it through Google Sites, so it has to go through Sites to launch the calendar.
yes.
Yeah. So you could have a Google site that has just the calendar page, and then on eSchool, good point, just have a link that says click here for the calendar, and
Or
that
the calendar.
and that links to a simple Google site page with just the calendar.
And then the other thing on that is because you can subscribe to Google Calendar, that'll give them the ability to click on the subscribe to calendar button. If they subscribe to the calendar, then it's within their own Google Apps and they can view it any way they want.
Yeah, it says plus Google Calendar in the bottom right-hand corner of the calendar when it shows up on the web page. And if they click that little plus Google Calendar button in the bottom right-hand corner, it'll add it to their list of calendars, and they can just view it straight from their calendar. Yeah. All right. Well, Anthony, why don't you share about what you wanted to chat about with your search and tell,
Okay.
and then we'll probably be getting close to wrapping things up. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to making Anthony the main presenter here. All right. And you should be up, Anthony.
Okay. Make sure you're hearing my audio. And you can unmute my mic probably.
I'll mute my.
Okay, I think we have sound now. Okay, sorry about the delay there. What I want to talk about today is I always like to talk about searching things, but I've been working on this big project for everything you wanted to know about the Google Drive and we're afraid to ask, or afraid to look for. And one of the things is searching within the Google Drive search box. And a lot of people just simply type a document name in there and they're fine. But when you get I'm over 19,000 documents now, so it gets a little messy. You have the option always of choosing what type of document that you want to search for. So if you go to the far right edge of the screen on the search page, you will see a little drop-down arrow. Clicking on that little drop-down arrow will let you choose which type of document you want to open. There's also a second section that lets you choose what type of document or what type of tool opens it. So you can do those, and those are very, very helpful. You can also check by ownership and a couple other things. What I really wanted to share today, though, was the next page in my handout here has the advanced searching techniques. And you can simply type these in. Now, you'll notice that a lot of these look very similar to when you use the drop-down arrow because they'll just put them on the screen. But you can use a lot of the same things that you use searching on normal web pages. You can put things in quotations. You can put in certain dates. So by using this syntax available in this little table here, you can do searches for files and folders within your Google Docs drive. So again, that's just a little bit of the webinar that's going to be held on the 17th called Navigating Google Drive, a guided tour. Also, if you just want to go grab the tour is available now on our PD website under the announced webinars. Then the last thing I wanted to mention is hopefully going to pop up here. Let's see if it does. Down at the very bottom of our document for today, I have included a link, and it's a little holiday gift for you. That's something I've been doing for a couple of years. This is Google related. When you click on the link, it will bring up a calendar. It's an advent calendar, and each day of the month, a new tool will reveal itself to you. Now, you can't cheat because you have to wait until that date. So check back on the 26th, and you'll see the 26th open. So you're going to want to revisit this each day, and you'll get a little gift. Some days the gifts are a really good extension. Some days there's other gifts, including a cookbook one day. So you might want to check back. The nice thing is if you forget to check on one day, all the days stay open once they've been open, so they don't reclose.
So you're using conditional formatting
Exactly.
to reveal it on each day.
Yes, conditional. So this is a good example, and you can also, if you're interested in the details behind this, I published this, so you can't really do a whole lot with it. But if you drop me an email, I'll send you a copy of the actual spreadsheet. And it's a nice thing. You could also use this in a classroom setting where each day of the week it reveals a new assignment to students, or you could have it based on anything that you wanted to, where it would be a reveal based on a time or a condition by using conditional formatting. That's it. Have a good holiday. If you get tired over the holidays or your Netflix subscription runs out, don't forget to binge watch our webinars.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much is going to get us back to wrapping this up. We want to thank everybody who weathered through the connection problems here today, and we still have folks watching the video live. So thank you guys. You're real troopers. I appreciate that. We'll try to see what we can do next month to head off potential problems, shoot for a little smoother meeting. The next meeting, like we said, is going to be in December, and it's the 18th? Yes, December 18th. We're back to our morning session, 9 to 11. Between now and then, if you get a chance, fill out our Google form to put in your predictions for 2016. And of course, there's the event link so you can sign up for that. If you attended this today in person or watched it online, don't forget the important links. There's a spot to sign in. And if you do fill out that sign-in form, it'll allow us to send you a certificate of attendance for viewing this. So you can turn that in to your school for attending the meeting, and it also lets us report numbers back to Google, let them know how many people attended our user meeting. And other than that, please feel free to get in touch with us. Anthony and my email addresses are all listed there. And again, you can access all of the resources at google.apps.spark.org/user group, where you can catch previous months as well. Anthony?
And remember, there's two streams.
Two videos for this one. Yeah, I'll do my best to kind of put them together, but there's two videos for this one. But
and if you missed the first part, you definitely want to see the second part.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
The first part. Yes.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and we're going to go ahead and we will stop the broadcast there. Take care.